Wouldn't it be awesome to know your expected checking account balance 4, 8, or even 12 months in advance? Imagine entering a big purchase in March and seeing how it affects your balance in December. In this video, I'm going to walk you through how to set this up. This is a done-for-you system. You don't have to know anything about spreadsheets to master your finances. Using this spending plan will ensure you never have to deal with overdrafts or late fees again. Let's get started. Hello and welcome to this demonstration of the Gold Spending Plan by Ringside Sheets. My name is Jeff and I created this spreadsheet in the fall of 2022 to help me better manage my finances. And I'm recording this demonstration today because this is something I offer in my Etsy shop now. And I thought it would be helpful to others that if they're looking for a way to better their finances. So this is going to be kind of a two-part series. In this first video, this is sort of an introduction to the spreadsheet. And then in the videos following in this series, I'm going to go through each page individually. But today, I'm going to take you through the entire spreadsheet. Now, because of the way I have to crop this for YouTube, you're not going to see all the tabs at the bottom during this video, but I can assure you that they are there. And there's 11 tabs outside of the instructions page, which we're not going to go through. But I'm going to show you how to use a full year spending plan, because that's what this is. You're able to enter your income, expenses, and savings all up front for the entire year, and then you'll be able to see your balance for any date of the year and be able to plan well in advance. So let's get started. Where you'll start with a full year spending plan is with your categories. So now we're on the categories tab, and these are the four main category groups in a spending plan. You've got your income. If we're looking at row 3 here, you've got your income, your sinking funds, your bills, and your debts. And sinking funds, if you're not aware, those are savings areas that you're saving for throughout the year. In this plan, these are by default. There's 7 income categories. They're all color coded. Income is in green. If you look at that column A, income is in green. Sinking funds is blue. Bills are in orange, and debts are in gray. And you can see there's some spaces. You don't have to use all of these. But so you have income, sinking funds, bills, and debts. There's 7 income. There's 9 sinking funds and debts. Click out of there so you can see that better. And then there are 16 bill categories, and you can see that there. And you can add categories. You don't really need to subtract, but you can add categories if you want. And I'll show you that when we get to the category video. But today, I just want to give you an overview of how this works. So these are example categories. You can change whatever you want here. So let's say, for example, you want my job to say my salary instead. Watch B1 when I hit enter, and you can see it change to my salary there. So anything you change in C through F automatically changes in column B, and then column B is used throughout the spreadsheet. So you want to spend some time getting this how you want it before you get started, but you can always change categories throughout the year if you decide to do that. Once you have your categories set up, then you will go to income and start entering income. So now we're on the income tab, and the reason I changed the category is because I wanted you to see this. You'll notice there's 2 rows of income to start, and where it says my job in the category column, in column D, you'll see there's a little red triangle. If you click there, it says this cell's contents violate its validation rule. What that means is this is all connected to the categories tab, and it means it doesn't match what you've entered in your categories tab, because remember, we changed it. So if you just click here, you can change this to my salary, and then that little notification goes away. So if you ever change your categories like mid-year, you will have to go back through and change things for them to line up. But once you're on the income page, this is how you enter your income. You will enter 2 rows of data, and we have that here. You can write anything you want in the description, and then your amount goes in the credit line for income, and if it's a bill or savings, anything that's coming out of the checking account, it'll be in the debit column. Once you have 2 rows though, what you'll do is you'll highlight both rows and you'll fill down. I'll just go a couple rows just so you can see. And you click autofill, and you can see it fills down so that you would fill down for the rest of the year. And you can see current and annual in row 2 changed as well. So the reason we fill down for the rest of the year is because we're going to fill out our income for the entire year. So I always recommend when you're doing this to enter your income or estimate your income low and your expenses high. So when you're off, it'll be in your favor. So let's say, for example, if you know your check is typically $1,680 roughly, you would enter $1,600, and then when you get paid, you would come back in here and enter the actual amount. And you can see that's an easy way to update this. So you would do this for each item of income individually, and that's how you enter your salary for the entire year. Transfers and bills and debt all work the exact same way. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on these sheets because they work the exact same way. You know, for a transfer, you would, because again, I'm going to go through each one of these sheets individually, but again, you would fill it down. And this one is monthly. I always like to do my transfers monthly, but that is how you enter your transfers very quickly. So if you're going to save $200 a month for Christmas spending, there you go. You've got it entered in already. It took you a couple of seconds to enter that in. And then you would do that for each of your sinking fund categories. So that's transfers. Bills works the exact same way. You would enter your bills. You would we start with groceries. And let's say this is weekly, so you would enter farther. I'm not going to go all the way because, again, we're going to be doing this I'll be doing this on another video for you. But it's a really simple way to enter your income, expenses, and transfers. So it doesn't take long at all once you have it. You know, the longest part is figuring out how much you owe, what dates there are, making sure you don't miss any bills. But once you actually get to entering it, very simple. Once you have your income, transfers, and bills, then we go to our balance tab. And this is where it all comes together in date order. So you can see, I'll point out a few things here. Number one, in row 2, it always shows today's date. So as I'm recording, it is August 9th, and it always shows today's balance, $8,380. And then, but you can see all of the entries that I've made so far have shown up in date order. Income is on the credit line, or the credit column, and expenses are on the debit line. And then you have a running balance total, so you can see exactly how much money you would have at any point in the year. So because it's August 9th, the last thing we have was July 24th. So you can see the balance is $8,380, and in row 2, $8,380. When we get to the balance worksheet of this series, I will explain row 1 a little bit better, but let's keep moving on for now. So that's your main part of the budget, and then we have debt and savings trackers after that. So this is the debt worksheet, and you'll notice that there's nothing entered in here, and I didn't do that because you do enter it the same way as income, transfers, and bills, but I didn't enter anything because that's a little more personal. It's going to be different for everybody. On the other 3, everybody wants to save money for Christmas. Everybody wants to save, or vacation or whatever. Everybody wants to save money or everybody has income, and then everybody has groceries. But debt, you may not have any debt, but you would enter it the same way. So if you're entering it from scratch, you never have to enter the month. I'll show you this because the month comes in automatically. And then you could put anything here for the description, but the category would have to match. So when we went to if you remember our category list, we had credit card 1, credit card 2, student loan, and car loan. So you would enter one of the categories, and you would enter your amounts in the credit and debit line. And we'll get to that more in detail when we get to the debts video, as I keep saying for all of them. After you enter your debts, we have what is called a sinking funds tracker and a snowball tracker. So let's look at sinking funds first. And here is a table of all of your sinking funds. And then below it, I just have some general, kind of like a 12-month area for you to just do a little planning in. This doesn't affect anything in the spreadsheet. It's just it's strictly for planning. Like if you want to have a monthly savings of $40 for each one of your sinking funds or whatever it is. That kind of lets you know where you'll be. And then I keep a non-monthly category. And then on the right side, what I like to do is I like to add up my non-monthly expenses. These are things that you pay like either 6 months or a yearly subscription, that kind of thing. So that is your sinking funds. And then each sinking fund will have its own balance ledger. So you can look up the balance of any of your sinking funds for any point throughout the year, and you can plan that way. That snowball works very similarly. You've got your table, and it shows today's date and your today's debt total balance. And then down here, I just have, like, again, a working area for you to plan out some of your debt type things. You can use it or not, doesn't matter. But just like the sinking funds, each one of your debts will have a table. And we'll get into this when we get into these videos. After that, there is a dashboard tab. And this is really my favorite part of the entire spreadsheet. This gives you your monthly and annual totals for every category. So let's take a look at monthly. And in the monthly section, which is to the left here, you can see your budget versus actual. And there's a way to enter your budgeted amount, whether it's the same every year. So like, let's say for your salary, you expect to earn roughly $3,200 every single month. You just type in $3,200. But let's say you have a side hustle like DoorDash is in here on row 8. And maybe it's not the same every month. Some months you work less, some months you work a little more. It depends on the time of year and how much availability you have. If you double tap that, there is a sum ifs formula that you can use where it pulls the amounts from the variable tab. So let's look at the variable tab real quick. And here we have DoorDash. Let's change the amount just so you can see the difference. This only affects the budget column. So you see it in row 2. Variable expenses for budget. This only affects the budget column on the dashboard tab. That's the only part of the spreadsheet this particular worksheet affects. So in January, I earned $200, or expect to earn $200. In February, I expect to earn $400. So if you go back to the dashboard tab, and now we're looking at January, you see it says $200 in the budget column. If we were to go to February, now it says $400. So that is what the that's what the variable tab will do. It gives you the opportunity to make your budgeted amounts different if you want to. It's an extra step. You don't have to do it, but if you want to do that, that way you can more accurately compare your budgeted amounts, what you thought you would go into the month with, and then what you end up doing in the actual column. When you scroll to the right, this shows all of your actual expenses month by month, line item by line item. So you can see the income is in green, sinking funds are in blue, bills are in orange, and debts are in gray. And you may not be able to see debts on the screen because, again, I think I said this earlier, but the way I have to crop this for YouTube, you can't see the bottom of the screen here, but it's there. So that is that. And then the last tab I have on this is a calendar tab. And this is very simple. You can use it or not. I don't really use it, but it's nice to have like a full year calendar view. Or green, anything that shows up in green is your income. Anything that is in blue is your sinking funds. And everything that is in orange is your bills and expenses tab. And then at the top, I just put the 6 big holidays, the big 6 holidays, but you can change that. You can delete that. It doesn't connect to anything. Just kind of a nice feature to have a full year calendar. So that is an overview of the gold spending plan. It's very simple to use, very simple to get started. If you want more information, if you want to see this more in depth, continue watching this series. I'm going to go through each tab that I just showed you, one video at a time per tab, and I'm going to spend about 4 to 6 minutes on each, so it'll give you a really, really strong, in-depth look at how this system works. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.